Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me as always is Ben Slinger.
I am, and I was about to do the intro because I forgot it was your turn, so I'm glad you just started before I could get it out.
That's okay.
So, what are we going to do this week, Trevor? What's the plans? Damn.
You know what we haven't done for a while?
Click pitch?
Ramped up click pitch.
Ooh, a ramped up click pitch. Okay. So I will explain what this is. So a regular click pitch, we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we click refresh and get a word and make that into a game design. But with ramped up click pitch, instead of a word, we get a phrase. Generally we do adjective noun, but we can, maybe mix that up here and there.
Adjective verb.
Yeah. We will do 2 words.
Yes.
Each and, see where that takes us. So, shall we begin?
3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Supernatural windpipe.
Permanent activating.
Okay. Supernatural windpipe. There's a ghost in my throat.
I've just got this like almost a Banjo-Kazooie sort of feeling of this guy who's going around doing all this stuff, and you find out like there's a ghost that lives in his throat who talks to him.
Just sits back there. Well, maybe it can talk maybe because it's in his throat, the only way it can manifest is through like altering what he says. Like it can talk for him, but it uses a different voice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know about the Banjo-Kazooie. Like I don't know if it's a platformer, but yeah, like that it's kind of buddy comedy in that way.
Yeah. Okay. It's a co-op adventure game, but.
Okay, co-op adventure game.
One person controls the movement options, and one person controls the dialogue.
Okay,
and can basically.
I like that.
The idea being that you sort of like remember when we played Until Dawn, where we kept on swapping back and forward. I'm imagining it as sort of like a couch game that one person gets to select the dialogue option.
Yeah, and the other person gets to do basically all the other verbs that are involved in an adventure.
Yeah. But
that's cool.
I like the idea of being able to, sort of set it as like a switching sort of thing that during one scene you'll be controlling the movement and the other person controls the dialogue, if you know what I mean. So you can sort of switch over at the start of each scene.
Yeah. I mean, you could design it that way. I think it'd also be, you could do it in a way that each person has their own controller.
Yep.
And yeah, you literally just have control over that aspect of the gameplay. And then you can bring that into the design where you obviously, you give each person the opportunity to fuck things up too. Because that's the best part about those sort of co-op games.
Especially if it would be a comedic sort of thing.
Exactly.
In the vein of like a LucasArts game where basically I'm thinking that the person could be trying to sneak through a like an airport or something like that not being noticed, but the other person can like be throwing out like insults and all this sort of stuff to people just to really fuck with them.
Exactly. So I think I think what you'd want to do is, I think you go 3D.
Yep.
3D third person with it. And you'd have, I think most of the time you want to give both players the opportunity to be able to do at least something here and there.
Yep.
So yeah, while you're walking along, the character who's doing the voice can just like choose from a selection of whether you do actual pre-selected lines or just like a type of line. So you can say, all right, throw out an insult, throw out a compliment, throw out a joke, just scream. and if you do it well enough, you could have just funny reactions from people in the environment to these different things at different times. So you're walking down the street and suddenly you just start screaming randomly, and people will comment on it or run away or something,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously then from the puzzle point of view, you're going to be working together, but at the end of the day, one person has control over pick this up, use this inventory item, etc., and the other person has control over what gets selected in dialogues and when you actually talk to someone. Like, they have the option to start a dialogue with anyone who's nearby at any time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the permanent activating, I think that can come into it in the way of, like, there's a permanent solution to, like, maybe eradicate the ghost.
Well, I think so. Well, let's talk about how this person has a ghost in their throat. So my thought was that there was a robbery, and the person, like, there was a bank robbery.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's name these characters. Let's figure out these characters. Let's make so there was a man at the bank. He was just doing his regular bank business.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a bank robbery, and there were 3 bank robbers.
Yes.
And shit hit the fan. Things were going badly.
Mm-hmm.
The cops came. This one bank robber, a woman, was trying to be like a hero. She stands up in front of the other man who was doing his bank business. The cop shoots her. It goes through her head and through the other guy's throat.
Okay, I was hoping that you were going to say something like the guy, who is just at the bank doing the banking business sort of stuff, has a heart attack, and she gives him mouth to mouth, and, like, the soul comes out and gets attached into her throat as she's, like, giving him mouth to mouth. Something like that.
No, well, my thought was that the bullet, but the fact that the bullet went through her head and his throat is what connected them in that way, in that very specific way. So he wakes up in the hospital, tries to talk, he can't. The nurse or the doctor says, like, "I'm sorry, but you've lost your vocal cords." And then you hear a woman's voice come out of him saying, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But the guy has no control of it. And that, like, starts it out. And then they have to have a way of communicating where he's writing. Can she see what's... I think maybe she'd have to be able to see what's around.
Yeah, I think
she's
got a full set of senses and all that sort of stuff. She just can't interact with anything other than speaking.
I think maybe she, like, tries to get out. Like, there's a scene where you see her spirit, like, try to crawl out of his mouth, out of his throat, and gets snapped back in, and they figure out that, like, oh, well, I'm a ghost. I must have unfinished business, and I'm stuck here.
Yep.
And that's how they have to, like, help each other.
I don't know why, but I'm kind of feeling a little bit awkward about the girl being killed.
Yeah, I think it's fine when it's kicking off the character like this. You're not quite fridging her because she becomes the main character.
At least,
and she's not.
At least, you're now trying to work out what the maybe she's trying to stop this from being a permanent thing. She wants to move on to the afterlife. And
yeah, look, I think you obviously develop them both as a character as well, and then really get to know each of them. And they start off on opposite sides. It's very much a buddy comedy kind of thing where they're mismatched.
Yeah,
but end up being good friends by the end.
And hopefully the people in the co-op also become good friends by the end and don't still try to fuck each other up.
Well, maybe the stakes of that can become more and more serious as you go along, So if you call out insults when you're trying to sneak through, the other bank robbers' hideout because you're trying to steal something for her, then, that's actually, you just get shot and die.
Yeah. Or you get shot through the throat again and
shot through the throat
and you're to blame.
Now there's a ghost in my throat. I couldn't think of a rhyme.
Okay, so I'm thinking that
I just wanted to point out, sorry, just around, because I think it is important to point out problematic tropes and that sort of thing. I was thinking of going the other way, where a man is killed and ends up in a woman's throat, but then there's a, I feel like it'd be, and not that we would write it this way, but a woman speaking with a deep man's voice is very much a transphobic trope around transgenderism and that sort of thing. So that's actually why I went that way.
Okay. I was going to say something about the gameplay, and I've forgotten. If I remember it later on in some other game, I'll come back.
Sorry.
To it. But yeah,
no, that'd be cool.
I just think there's a lot of comedic things. Oh, that's right. I was going to go. I'm just imagining going through an airport, get to the end, and you have that scene from Total Recall of the 2 weeks, and you just try to totally fuck with the character.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Where the person who's controlling the ghost can just get the guy arrested because you're going through a checkpoint or whatever, and they're really super suspicious already.
Yeah. I'm just imagining
those fucking TSA agents, man. They're intense.
I wouldn't know. I've never been outside of this country.
Well, take my word for it. It's much preferable. It's much more preferable going from the US to Canada and having to deal with nice Canadian border agents than the other way.
Fair enough. Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah.
Square specification.
Efficient ring with a W-R-I-N-G, to wring out a towel or something. So, I think we've had a towel snapping game before.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be more than one.
Yeah, I think last time it was a platformer that instead of a whip, like a Castlevania whip, you just had a towel.
I feel like we also talked about a VR version. Right?
Yeah. Now that's sort of coming into mind. So
let's not go down that road. And square specification.
Yeah.
All right. This is boring, but I'm going to say it anyway because this is improv, and you say what comes to mind. Face cloth factory. They're square and you wring them out. Maybe you got to design
a flannel
to test test the flannel face cloth
squareness.
It twists them, measures the squareness. Yeah, I don't know what the game is.
Maybe you're looking to try and find the golden ratio. So it's that sort of golden rectangle idea.
The perfect size to be able to clean your face without it being uncomfortably large.
Yeah, I'm imagining
or too small, choke you.
I'm just sort of imagining that it's people, the new CEO of this face cloth, of this flannel factory, has realized that the majority of people's faces are actually sort of longer than what they are wide. So you don't need square, but you actually need that rectangle. And the golden rectangle for a face cloth is actually, I don't know.
So look, I don't think there's a ton of gameplay in that we want to dig into, but from a narrative point of view, it could be an interesting place to start.
It's when the government agents came in to basically stop them from turning flannels into rectangles, they realized that they were onto something.
That's the start of a novel. That's the first line in a novel. It was when the government agents came in to stop them from making rectangular flannels that they knew they were up to something.
They were handed like the square accords, in which the square was the specification for all flannels.
Square accords. No flannels may have one side longer than another. Okay, so what's the reason?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
What's the reason for why they must be square? What are the government trying to cover up? What don't they want the people to find out about rectangular flannels?
Well, I think if you remember that like Rick and Morty episode where Rick gets like that laser to make the most perfectly flat surface, and then Morty stands on it and he can't stand it anymore. I think it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
That once people realize how good a rectangular face cloth feels on their face, like they basically suffocate because they never want to remove it from their face.
They never want to take it off. The perfectly rectangular, the golden ratio flannel that once you put it on, you are physically and emotionally incapable.
You effectively waterboard yourself.
Of removing it. Okay, I mean, this could be a benevolent government. I don't think it's been done before in, the world, but the idea is there. No, I just usually want to make the government the bad guy. But okay, so...
What were your words again? I'm just still going with the square specification.
Efficient ring.
Efficient ring. Okay, so that's why we got the flannel. So maybe
that's part of it is... Yeah, that's why it's the flannel.
Yep.
And maybe that's part of it as well. Like, there's the perfect amount of material there that when you wring it out, there's just the right amount of moisture left.
Yep. So that you're not waterboarding yourself.
Well, as long as you take it off, which you then can't.
Have you seen these cloths that you can now buy that you can basically put like hot water onto them? Okay. And then, like, you wring them out a bit, you snap them a couple of times, and they stay cool for, like, an hour. It's like, you can put no matter what type of water on it. It's like this special fabric that basically turns cool based on...
Like, some sort of evaporation thing going on.
Like, Bianca's actually got one, and we haven't tried it yet, but I tried one at the local shopping centre. Won't bother mentioning which one because no one lives around this area.
And did you stand there for an hour to test it?
No, I put it on, like they put boiling hot water that I could see the steam. Then they
I see. Okay.
wrung it out and put it around my neck. And I'm like, oh my God. It's just perfectly cool and...
It's cold.
It's freezing cold. And it's like...
That's bizarre.
It's weird. But I'm thinking, sort of like that's the efficient ring.
Right.
But anyway.
So... Jesus Christ, we've been doing this too long. Who do you play then? Do you play the owner of the people of the factory making these things?
Yeah,
I think the head of the research division or something.
I think Leah is the head of the research division, and she's just been made like CEO because she's the daughter of the matriarch of the Flannel Empire, and then she's sort of been doing all this research and.
Nepotism. No, she earned it. She's the head of research.
Head of research, and she was the obvious choice to succeed.
Yeah,
and plus, she's the only one from the family.
Yeah, and so so she's been made CEO, and so now she's got the power to actually put more money into research, into something she's been wanting to try for the longest time.
Yeah.
Which is non-square flannels.
Yes.
Did her predecessor know? Is that why they prevented this research from happening in the past? Did they know that that there was something?
I think what it comes out
that if you start experimenting with non-square flannels, then eventually you're going to reach that golden ratio, and it's destroyed civilizations. That's how the dinosaurs died out.
Well, I I like the idea that she sort of comes into being the CEO. She's looking through the safe and she comes across these files that basically show like this video of this guy putting the flannel on his face. And then they show like time-lapse photography of footage of basically, it's days later and he still hasn't taken the flannel off his face.
It's like fighting people off who are trying to help him. No! It's so comfortable! You'll never take my flannel!
And when it got dry, he kept on, like, pouring water onto it because it felt so nice to have water on the flannel and basically waterboarded himself.
Oh my god. I do love... Yeah, okay. It's like the 70s or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm picturing
They've
like
been
an old
keeping
70s
this-
haircut sort of thing, or even 60s,
Yeah.
and, you see flower power in the background.
Totally. Just this, like, dodgy, home filmed. Yeah. Okay.
So...
But then does she do it anyway? Like, she sees this warning.
And she basically blows it off as
Or does she try to weaponize it?
what, she's evil.
It's just like airdrop these perfect flannels onto the enemy troops. They all suffocate themselves.
Well, if it's a branching adventure game, then maybe, yeah, that's the way that you could take it.
Well, or maybe it's that her, like, second in command has ties to the military or something. Like, they're like, okay, now that your grandmother is dead, your CEO, we're going to do this. And they're who show her the video and stuff. Like, they know it's dangerous. They want to make weapons from it. And they're trying to, give them a lucrative contract to develop these things.
Yeah. This is actually turning into a kind of a cool narrative adventure game.
Yeah. Look, this is the best ideas come out of stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like fucking non-square flannels.
I'm thinking that you've got the kind government agent who, wants to put a stop to this. Like,
yep.
But then you've got the sort of guy who wants to capitalize on it.
The warmonger.
Who basically is trying to convince you to allow them to do it. But I'm thinking that his plans are actually to give it to like the poor, to wipe out the poor or something like that.
God.
So it turns into. I'm thinking maybe early on you can basically say that the homeless population or something like that has been getting unruly and just in like news reports.
Well, or just
sort of
I
stuff,
mean, there doesn't even have. Look, there doesn't even have to be any change in what homeless people are doing for some fucking asshole in government to want to wipe them all out.
Yeah.
So, but maybe the numbers could be rising.
Yeah.
And there are, again, good reasons for that in the real world right now.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Wealth inequality and that sort of thing. So yeah, their solution is we'll just wipe out the poor and the homeless.
But they'll be happy while going.
Yeah. They've done like MRIs and stuff to just measure the brain activity once someone puts one of these things on, and it's just like fires endorphins into their brain constantly because of the sheer pleasure of it.
It perfectly covers the face. There's that. It's basically from hair to.
So stupid.
I know.
All they want to do is pour water over their flannelled face. It feels so good even until they suffocate and die. Oh, man. But I think there's maybe something about the material as well that this company has a patent on. Like, they can't actually just go to a different flannel company.
Yep.
They have to deal with this company. Fanny's Flannels. Fanny was the grandmother.
3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Give me yours.
Supported Bishop.
3 unloading. Is this a game about moving into a new chapel.
As long as the bishop is considered a chess piece.
Okay. Oh, wait. Or is this an Aliens game? Ridley Scott's Aliens. Because 3 unloading could be like unloading weapons.
Yep. Okay. So it's a co-op game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3-player co-op.
Okay, yep.
Yep. You all play bishop.
You all play bishop. Okay. Well, he is an android.
It's an android. So basically, if you die, you can be reconstituted.
You like
reconstituted or whatever.
Yeah.
3 bishops.
Inject some white milk blood.
Yeah, and I kind of like the idea of, it's up to 3 players. So if you just play as a 1-player game, you get 2 other bishops that come with you, but you can control them individually or let the AI control them, sort of thing. So
okay,
you can sort of switch between your bishops to do.
Okay, is this a first or third person shooter? Is there a more tactical aspect, perhaps? Just because you're saying switching between them, it made me think of a kind of Dragon. What's the fucking
Knights of the Old Republic sort of?
Yeah. The BioWare style party based. What's the
Dragon Age?
Dragon Age. Yeah, like Dragon Age-esque kind of RPG-ish, a bit more tactical style sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you play 3 bishops. You can customize them.
Yeah, you can make them
have
look totally different.
Even have different loadouts of skills and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, they're androids. I mean, I know that the androids in the Alien series are mostly just... Why are they even there? Like, they just look and act like people. Why do they make these androids? But anyway.
I think because they're expendable.
I guess so.
And they follow orders blindly. So they're sort of like for an evil company. Like, I'm trying to remember the actual name of their
like Hyperdyne Systems?
No, I think it started with W.
Oh, the corporation. They're made by Hyperdyne Systems, but the Weyland-Yutani.
Yes, Weyland-Yutani. I'm thinking that, androids are perfect for evildoers like Weyland-Yutani because, they want the aliens to give birth somewhat.
I don't remember the fucking alien lore. Why do they want aliens? Are they just trying to use them as weapons and stuff?
Yeah, basically they sent, in Aliens, they sent a colony there to basically get them all impregnated with aliens to create a larger stockpile of these aliens so that they could weaponize them and send them out into war zones and basically totally destroy everyone there.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that you're sort of thinking that you're doing noble things.
Holy fuck, Lance Henriksen got old.
Yeah.
He's nearly 80.
Yeah.
He's 79. Jesus Christ. I haven't seen a recent picture of him. He's an old man.
Yeah.
Sorry, it shocked me. It shocked me, the Google image that came up.
So I like the idea of maybe you play, an older bishop, a younger middle-aged bishop, and like a young bishop.
Right. Okay. But you said though that they'll just print out. Do they print them out at that age?
Yeah, basically.
I mean, there would be reasons to make them different ages for different sort of, particularly if they're like, designed for infiltration and to be sleeper agents.
I like the idea of, you're being given some rather benign tasks in which, your 3 bishops are working together to try and do some things. I like the idea that they're not. It doesn't look like the orders are coming from Weyland-Yutani, but it turns out that the orders the entire time have been coming from them, and they are basically setting you up to do some evil shit.
Oh, so maybe you think, okay, so maybe these bishops are like, so a rogue, like a revolutionary group have taken over one of the like printing, the cyborg printing, Android printing presses.
Yep.
Not a press, but whatever. Factories or machines.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they're sending out these Bishop clones, basically, Bishop androids to do their work. But yeah, it turns out in the end that actually they've been manipulated the whole time. And, you know, Weyland-Yutani have full control over these bishops. They've just been letting them do certain things while, like, making sure that nothing that actually is going to hurt them is going to happen at the same time they're gathering information on this revolution.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what I kind of am envisioning for this thing, whenever you sort of die, your new bishop will come out of like like in BioShock, you had those Vita chambers, you know, that were sort of scattered around the level. So basically, they're almost like a checkpointing system. The last one that you sort of went by is now your active spawn point.
Yeah, we could do it that. I mean, I guess it depends how far down the like RPG party-based RPG style you want to go. Because you could make it that if you're out on a mission.
Oh, because I want literally the androids to be, you know, burst apart, like, and so you see white blood everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. But maybe that just means that you now got one less for this. I guess until you get to the next fighter chamber and you can unlock. Yeah, I guess it depended on how you, because I was more thinking, like, if you went down the RPG thing, then that's more of a single player thing where, okay, you've lost one and you can't get it back until you, like, finish this mission and get back to your base sort of thing, your base of operations where you've got the resources to do so. But if you're actually going 3 players co-op, then yeah, you probably want, you can't just have that person not play for the rest of the mission. So, yeah. All right. So maybe this is a mix between like a third-person shooter, like maybe a Mass Effect-ish style combat thing.
Yep.
And like a regular sort of FPS in that, you know, it's action-based, but yeah, it's this ongoing story, with where you can skill up your different bishops. And now here's the thing. If they die, do you lose?
Do you what?
Skills and things. If one of them dies.
Yeah, I think the one that remains, or the 2 that remain, have to like salvage like the brain chip or something like that they can plug into the the next one.
That's cool. That's cool. I almost picture this as a bit of a heading back towards the shooter style, almost a co-op roguelike FPS.
Yep.
Or third-person shooter. So, in sort of the way that World War Z had specific missions that you just play through.
Yep.
You, as a team, or maybe you unlock it, I don't know if you unlock it individually. Like, I like the idea of going through a whole extended mission with the same 3 people, but like, realistically, that doesn't happen. So you probably want each person to unlock things at their own rate.
Yep.
But each time you play, you get the opportunity to unlock different skills and different things that you can have in your bishop, and you can pick them up as you go through a mission. But yeah, if you die, you start as a fresh bishop unless the people you're playing with have like saved your brain chip. And, you know, maybe it takes a little bit of time to extract. So like if they're under fire, or, you know, under attack by aliens or whatever, then, you know, they might not have the time to get their fucking knife and maybe they it was Bishop who did the knife thing, right? Between the fingers?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe there's a mini game to get the thing out where you have to like hit specific spots and not hit the things in between. So like you have to like put your hand over their head and just like, okay, I got to stab here. Oh shit, hit my finger. Oh fuck, I'm getting attacked. Oh, I'll try one more time, otherwise I'm not going to get this brain chip. Oh yes, I got it.
What was that? Roguelike VR game that we played?
Oh, From Other Suns?
Yes.
That one?
So I'm sort of thinking it's almost got that sort of appeal of you're out sort of a long way away from your destination. you can sort of choose your sort of destinations as you go, and each place that you sort of stop off at, you can do missions there that come up.
Yeah.
You're not always against the aliens, but you sometimes may be going against rogue androids and that sort of stuff.
Well, and I think even just military, you're a rogue faction here. So if you go, the military is controlled by Weyland-Yutani, basically. So
yep.
There's reason to go up against actual just other humans and stuff too. So yeah, I think you could get some good variety there. Throw a predator mission in there.
Yeah, sort of like just occasionally maybe sort of hint at that, you're going through this mission and then all of a sudden you're expecting like a lot of forces to go against, but basically everything is being killed already.
Yeah, you get there, it's just a bloodbath.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh fuck, and you see some sign of a predator being there, and
flayed bodies is a pretty good indication.
Well, exactly. But that can just be one of those cool roguelike, random encounters that don't come up very often, but they're a particular challenge, and you can maybe choose. Because generally in those games, you don't want to just completely destroy people randomly and not give them a chance to get through it. But
no,
they can choose and say, "Oh, we've got enough resources here. We're going to take on this predator," and obviously get a ton of loot out of it.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like the idea of a 3-player,
which is what From Other Suns actually was. It was a 3-player game.
Yeah, look, you're right. Now that I think of it, it was very similar to that, but
it's not in VR. It's definitely a third-person shooter.
Yeah,
but I really like the idea of a single-player version being still you control the 3 players, and you can switch between them. Yeah, because you can have some puzzles where you have to.
That's it. It doesn't have to all be combat, and I think even if you have some pre-written kind of vignettes and stuff where like in something like FTL or whatever, like you've got dialogue choices you can make that might lead to diplomacy or combat or trade or different things.
Mm-hmm.
As you go, you might run into other members of your revolutionary group and you get to trade with them and different things.
I mean, kind of like in From Other Suns where the aliens were like the scariest thing that you could actually come up against. I'm not sure whether you ever got to those sort of levels, but they were absolutely fucked up.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm thinking that you never know when you're gonna like come across the aliens.
Oh, totally. And in fact, you could be fighting a contingent of military, and suddenly they all just get destroyed, and there's like an alien queen or something, or whatever. Like maybe they're a queen, but
because it's actually legitimate aliens, you can have like the motion sensor sort of thing, so you can you play on the tropes.
Not the tropes, the callbacks, for sure. And maybe because you're androids, it's just like inside your head or something.
Well, HUD because you're not first person, but
yeah. But the idea being that you don't actually have to have a physical. Or maybe you do. Maybe it's an upgrade that you can get, because a big thing of some of those alien games was only being able to hold them either your gun or the motion sensor.
Yeah.
So maybe one of the upgrades you get is an internal motion sensor, which lets you hold your gun.
Yeah.
At the same time, but that's like one of the unlockables as you play through.
I like the idea of like an alien isn't something that you can easily kill. It's basically. You cannot go anywhere near it. It's just as bad as a predator sort of thing. Like it's sort of like your boss enemy. It's not a typical grunt that you come across. But
yeah, I think.
But face huggers are definitely like something that you can come across, and not that they can do shit to an android, but they can still kind of fuck you up a bit.
Well, and you could shift it a bit to say they can at least like incapacitate them. Even if they're not actually able to implant.
They try to, but it's basically an inhospitable environment.
It's like fucking a fleshlight. It's like trying to get a fleshlight pregnant. It just doesn't work. Bishop brand fleshlights. And then all the milky stuff comes out.
3, 2, 1, click.
Rushed swipe.
Smashed sampling.
A smashed sampling. Okay.
For some reason, I'm picturing like one of those sample stations in supermarkets.
Okay. Yep. And you're trying to steal from it?
I have a feeling that this is almost like, so like your character's trying to like steal as much as they can from the supermarket, and stealing from the free samples is sort of like the earlier things of the mission.
Okay. Although before we go fully, because there's some meat on those bones. Yeah. Some deli meat probably, because it has to be cooked. You're going to serve it on the sample. Yeah. But my thought went to a VR game where you're manning the sample station. Mm-hmm. Mostly because I like the idea of someone trying to swipe something from it and you stab them with a toothpick, like a timing-based thing. So maybe it's like about preparing the sample station, but also part of it is making sure people don't steal it. And yeah, you get to like poke them.
Okay, I'm seeing this so like a super hot sort of thing.
Okay, wait. Explain.
Kind of like when you realize that someone's about to steal, it goes into like a super hot sort of thing. You can basically hold down a button to get into focus so that you can reach out, grab the toothpick,
all right,
and stab the 15 people in the arms and basically have like a story behind. Maybe it's flashbacks to when you were in war or something like that. That's why you can react so fast. When you were in
war and you had to stab people who were trying to steal things. The thing is, it's a sample plate, so technically
they're allowed to take stuff from
maybe it's if they try to take a second one. There's not enough. More than one each. Is there anything... I don't know that there's actually enough, like, to go on there.
Sorry, I ruined it with the super hot thing then.
No, you didn't ruin it. I think just in general, there wasn't enough to go on there. I just like the idea of stabbing people with a toothpick in VR. But something set in a supermarket and having the sample stations be one aspect of that could be good. I guess is it about like, what was it supermarket sweep? They had to find specific things around the store. I think there has been a game of that or something similar to that recently, though.
So I'm now wondering whether this can be like a first-person version of Spy Party.
Okay.
Where there's lots and lots of people in the actual store. You got one person walking around as a security guard trying to catch someone swiping stuff, and basically the other person's walking around the store trying to find the things that they want to swipe.
Yep.
So what they might do,
they have a list similar to Spy Party where they've got a list of things
that they need to do, and that could be, take 7 things from the sampling plate, and try to steal some batteries and some other things.
Yep. I like that. Okay. Because you could also have an aspect of, depending on what they have to steal, they have to have a way to hide it.
Yeah.
So maybe they can prep before they come in. They could be carrying a backpack. And some of the NPCs will also have backpacks.
Yep.
But, maybe they can have varying levels of sort of how full they are. So, if you see someone with an overflowing, bursting at the seams backpack, maybe they're more suspicious. Maybe they can... pregnant women, like the classic thing is like shoving a watermelon up your thing, right? Mm-hmm. Up your dress. So, so maybe pregnant women could be, suspicious, but you don't know what they're trying to steal necessarily. Like maybe they have to steal a watermelon.
Yeah.
But yeah, like having to take a certain amount of things from the sample station, you're going to have regular NPCs just grabbing something from the sample station. But if you see someone take 3 things in a row, maybe like the NPCs generally aren't going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's cool.
But one of the characters that you can choose the person manning the sample station. The security guard,
right? Because they're
never...
undercover security, of course.
Yeah.
So this is interesting because it's slightly less asymmetrical than Spy Party, which is fine, obviously.
Yeah.
Because in this case, both people are having to act like NPCs.
Yes. Because
you're each trying to hide from each other.
Yep.
But only one person has these missions to do where they're going to do things that will almost certainly reveal themselves. Now, maybe though, the security person has the ability to like go into restricted areas or something and view security cameras. Well,
what I was about to say is they can, view security cameras on their phone.
Okay.
So...
Oh, and you actually have it like that the person could look over their shoulder and see, oh, they're looking at security cameras. Yeah. This is the security guard.
Yeah.
That could be cool. Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking, sort of like the, it's still asymmetrical, but it's.
Yeah. No, it is. It's just, it's more like some of the things you have to deal with are the same. Like, because I think you need to, because one of the main things with Spy Party is that the controls you are given make it fairly easy to act in the same way, to move in the same way as the NPCs.
Yep.
Like the way you lock into a conversation circle, the way you move up to you can't easily just say, oh, well, they're like at a slightly different distance, or they had to shuffle. Like there is the possibility that you have to shuffle in it, but that they had to shuffle a whole lot just to get the exact right distance away from something or trigger something.
Oh, yeah.
That's basically metagaming in that point.
What I'm thinking is you've still got like zones, and basically if you go around a corner, you can face into a zone, press a button, and it'll go into autopilot, moving over
to like turn a corner or to go into the next aisle or something. Yeah.
And then you can choose there while you're there, like it'll automatically start picking up and looking at things or doing whatever it needs to do in that area, and you can sort of choose whether you try to pocket it, whether you can look around, but the idea being...
Yeah, I think you'd have to find the balance between too much autopilot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously in Spy Party you've got the opportunity to let the character play itself for a little while, but once you take control, like you've got control.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe the zone is only like a 2 meter sort of zone around where you're planning on looking at the item or whatever.
Yeah, I think something like that. I think it's more around just giving them the ability to, like, not giving them necessarily direct control over the character in situations where it would be really obvious that someone is controlling this character.
Yeah.
As opposed to an NPC following a path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm really into this idea.
I know, that's really cool. So
I love Spy Party. It's such a cool idea, and this is just
absolutely
like the next evolution of it,
or just a different take on it.
Yeah,
with definitely inspired by a lot of its mechanics. It's because what I'm just trying to think of some of the different things you could steal and how you could steal them, because obviously there are things you could just slip in your pockets.
Yeah,
but again,
but batteries have security tags, and so do condoms. So you've got to work out how to strip the security tag. So therefore, you have to find a place to actually strip it and hide the evidence.
Well, and maybe you have to like stop by the kitchen aisle to get a knife to to slice it open, peel it off or whatever, to slice it open or take it out. Or one of the things you can bring in that you can prepare is like a neutralizer that demagnetizes them or whatever you have to do. But again, like you've got limited things you can bring into your mission. And also it takes up pocket space, or, you might have limitations on where you can't bring a bag into, because it might not just be supermarkets, right? You could do other types of stores and stuff too.
Yeah. Different levels.
So it's like, they're going to search your bag in this one, so you can't take a bag in. Or you can take a bag in, but you can't take you can't take a bag and the demagnetizer because it's going to be in your bag. They're going to find it when they search it because of this particular level. They search bags, going in and out, which also means you're going to need to find a different exit. Like you're going to have to use find a way to use the employee exit or something.
Find a way to sort of sneak into the back area, pull the fire alarm, and then you're all being escorted out.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like, it's just another way for you to, if the fire alarm goes, then the security guard can like pull up the cameras on their phone. They're like, all right, who's near the fire alarm? Because they're not just going to get out instantly. There's going to be, everyone come out in an orderly fashion. Yeah, they're not going to be checking bags.
But what they didn't expect to see was the fact that someone had put spray paint over the camera.
Again, yeah. Look, and that's the thing. As long as you can take that risk as the person stealing stuff, if you're sure that the security guard's not around, you can spray a camera.
Yep.
And as long as, you've brought your spray paint or stolen it from the art supplies aisle.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of things there. There's a lot of depth there where, the security guard can be like, okay, well, I rely on the cameras, but the other person knows that, so they're probably going to come to the art supplies aisle, so I'm going to hang around the art supplies aisle to see who steals paint, right? Like, or who picks up paint and mark them, because I think you'd have the same, like,
you'd have the
highlight, low light sort of system where you can set someone as suspicious or not. That's really cool. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
For really cool mechanics. That's awesome. Do you hear that Spy Party guy, Chris Hecker? Once you have finished spending your like decade or more on developing Spy Party,
here's the 3D version.
Yeah, it's already 3D.
Here's the fully 3D in like.
Well, here's the next stage.
Yeah, that's really cool. 3, 2, 1.
Inherited Bedlam.
Frightening diary.
Oh. Okay, this very much goes down, like, makes me think of one of those stories where it's just like a family drama, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's died. There's all of these relationships. Some people get along, some people are really heated. And perhaps you play, and just this is because I'm just thinking of the inherited bedlam, like,
yep,
someone's died, and so the responsibility for this family has been passed down to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or almost an Arrested Development style thing where like Michael feels responsible for this ridiculous family.
Yep.
And then obviously there's a diary involved in some way, which gives some insight into perhaps how the person who died dealt with this, or what they knew about these different relationships.
Okay, so is it the diary? Is it a family member's, or is it one that they sort of found in like an antique shop sort of thing?
I was thinking it was the family member who died, like they kept a diary, and so. Maybe this plays out. I'm trying to think of how this would kind of play out. Maybe everyone's in town for the funeral.
Yep.
And look, this is kind of tropey in a way, but like there's the big family house or almost a mansion, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a big old house.
I like that.
Let's say the grandfather died. His wife had died 15 years earlier, and he'd kind of been hanging on. He'd been the patriarch of this family.
Yep.
And he kind of, without people realizing, he'd sort of been holding this family together in certain ways. And so the family's all staying in this house, in all different rooms across the house. And you now play like, I don't know, his eldest daughter or something.
It's kind of like a different take on the Colonel's Bequest sort of thing. If you remember
I don't remember that much, but that was a Laura Bow.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah.
It was set on an island, but it's still sort of, set in this big mansion. There's stuff going, like interactions going on between family members. There's a mystery to sort of look into, but you've also got a diary that sort of, explains maybe where this your grandfather left his wealth, sort of thing. So you're trying to
and I think there is an aspect definitely of people squabbling over the will and who deserves what, but I think some of it is just revealing the relationships and learning about this family and storytelling in that way. I think
meanwhile,
so basically,
you start realizing that something maybe supernatural is what your grandfather was sort of experiencing, somewhat in the frightening diary.
Sure, I'll yes and that. Yeah, okay.
Well, he's explaining stuff like that. I like the idea that you can almost find out that it's something that one of the family members has been trying to set up, basically to frighten him to death, if you know what I mean.
Okay. I was going more towards a bit of a sort of just introspective family story, but it probably is more interesting to take it into an actual semi-murder mystery-esque. So you're thinking someone
who's there that
led
weekend
who did something that led to his death.
Yeah, but it was 100% natural causes. Like, he died of a heart attack, but what caused that heart attack was like a series of like supernatural occurrences, and that's what you're reading in the diary.
Okay, so what's the supernatural force?
I think it's kind of like you've seen like the Conjuring films and that sort of stuff, where there's like stuff moving around
I think.
And
just like a poltergeist?
Yeah, and doors opening and basically almost feels like there's a ghost in the house, but it turns out that there's not actually a ghost in the house in the end.
Oh, okay. So we're saying that someone in the family...
It's a Scooby-Doo
has faked a poltergeist.
Yep.
Because they know that this patriarch is superstitious,
deathly,
or like
deathly afraid of ghosts.
Yeah. And at the same time, perhaps is like, maybe they didn't even mean to kill him. Maybe they're just maybe they're trying to change the will, but they're trying to manipulate him into changing his will.
Yeah.
In their favor. But the stress of what they were doing ended up killing him.
And he couldn't stop now. Like, it's gone too far, but he has to try and continue it because it'd be too weird if it just stopped now.
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe part of it is that he didn't fully go through with changing the will or something, like it hadn't been notarized or something like that, and so one of the mysteries you solve is sort of the timing around that.
Yep.
That actually the new will was notarized after he died or something.
Yeah.
That could be part of the clues that you kind of bring up. And the fact that the person doing this manipulation didn't realize he was keeping a diary. And of course, so you're discovering things from the grandpa's point of view, where he just thinks fucking ghosts are happening, and that, that it's someone contacting him or telling him that he needs to change the will to do this or that, or take someone out or put someone in.
Found some messages on the mirror after having a shower, and I'm picturing that you could even have some vignettes of sort of playing out what is written in the diary.
Yeah, look, I think have some flashbacks.
I kind of like the idea that it's sort of like it's like a Scooby-Doo mystery kind of thing that, it's at the end, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you. sort of.
Oh, totally. Slip that in there just as an Easter egg. Maybe not pulling off the mask, but
no,
he totally just says something like, "I would have gotten away with it if you didn't start meddling," or something.
Yeah. But I'm sort of thinking about the sort of mechanics that you could actually have. I'm almost seeing this as a VR sort of game.
Oh, yeah.
In that, during the vignettes and that sort of stuff, you actually play like the grandfather.
Oh, you play yeah. That could be cool.
Which could be kind of cool.
Or even just a standard first person. Could be like a sort of walking sim adventure sort of style thing. Like the VR could add a bit, but
I'm thinking like a Gone Home, but shit's actually going down. Yeah, but there's still people around, but you're going down different different areas, like it's a stormy night, the lights keep flickering, and
yeah, well, that's it as well. Like, you start believing that there's maybe some ghostly shit going on.
Yep.
But it all just turns out to be, one, coincidence, and two, this person who's been manipulating. Because maybe initially, you know, the ghostly stuff stopped when this guy died.
Mm-hmm.
But as this person realizes that you're investigating it, they, like, started up to then try to take you off the track.
Mm-hmm.
So you do get some ghostly shit happening. But then that just sort of becomes part of the clues. It's like, oh, fucking Jeremy again, left the room, and then the lights started flickering. You know, if you're paying enough attention, you can kind of make those connections.
I'm just picturing one of my favorite sort of old sketch ideas was sort of like showing, you know, after all this scary shit went down, like the really mundane tricks that they were actually using to do it. Like, you see a hand come around the corner and just flick the light switch on and off really fast.
If you're looking in the right place, you can just see it from the very first scene.
I'm just picturing that, like, in one scene you see something floating and then you see how it was done, and he's just in a black suit just picking it up and moving it across the room.
He's in a green screen suit, and they're like, yeah, we just matted him out, you know, keyed him out.
It's like wait, how the hell did I
just broken the fourth wall? That
guy?
doesn't make sense. For one, this isn't even a movie. It's a game.
Yes, but you saw that on the security camera, didn't you? It was like, no, I was in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that didn't work out.
All right, I think we'll finish it up there for tonight.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find us online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. All of our links are there, all of our previous episodes. You can even check out a few lists we've got there of episodes with podcasters and with game developers. So take a look at that. We're also part of the 8-Bit Collective, and you can go to 8bit.net, and you can go there and find a number of other podcasts, you know, mostly about gaming. We've got a few other ones. I know there's a wrestling one, and, you know, we're all just a bunch of friends who kind of help each other out and, you know, have similar interests. So check that out.
If you have similar interests to us, then you can also check out the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Search for #AGPN on Twitter, or look for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. Check out all the awesome Australasian gaming podcasts out there. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuradust for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
That's it.
Yep.
So, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
Ghost Throat. There's a ghost in my throat.